Well, it's been a productive in many ways session for the 66th legislature. It's concluded on day 87, so we got our work done in a timely fashion. We did a fairly good job of living within our means, and I think we accomplished quite a few good things for the people of Montana. We'll see how many of them get to the past the governor's desk. So there's a laundry list of things we tried to get done, and we got a good many of them accomplished, and now it's up to the governor to see whether or not he would like to come to an agreement on those bills. Obviously, let them become law without his signature or sign them. So I would be more than happy to defer to the majority leader. He's championed a lot of these bills through the process in coordination with the sponsors, so I'll let him say a couple words as well.
Okay. Thank you, Vice President. This session really will go down as one of the more innovative sessions in time, and have been very productive for things that we could work on together with Democrats, and hopefully the governor does see it that way as well. So in the world of education, we have several bills that make our schools more safe, which is critical in this day and age with society degrading out there. We also have very innovative legislation dealing with training our workforce, and so that senior year in school particularly can be used for workforce training and take a leg up in the world of the economy there. Jobs and economy bills, we have several that have gone through there that are great for this state. We have one that would exempt broadband fiber and encourage broadband fiber being put in the ground. Another bill that is a tax credit for employment for employers who hire provide new high-paying jobs. Excellent stuff there. In the healthcare world, we have stuff that is innovative and the most innovative in the country, and that's where we have Senator Fitzpatrick's bill that creates a reinsurance program for individuals buying health insurance. That could drop health insurance premiums for individuals, and when that's fully in place, by up to 20%. Extraordinarily inventive. Plus then the pharmacy benefit program bills that dial in on how they're treated and just wrings the money out of the pharmacy benefit providers for the benefit of prescription payers, lowering premiums and lowering costs of prescriptions immediately once that's put in place. Public safety and vulnerable populations. And we had a key issue here. Unfortunately, we have this issue with where there was the missing Native American women, Native Montana women in the state, and we have this key legislation by Senator Small, the Link Act, that loops in the Native communities together and creates a system of finding and getting the information out for missing women in particular. Public lands, access to public lands. We always hear the railing downstairs now and then on how they're important they are. We put one of the most inventive programs together, led by Senator Blaisdell, to work to put together agreements to open up public lands that are landlocked by private ownership. That could be one of the best things ever done for public lands in the state of Montana. We'll follow up and work on that, not just pass it and let it go. In the world of infrastructure, this legislative session did pass a lot in that arena. The bonding bill did pass, which it hasn't in 5 different sessions prior. That was an $80 million deal when that's passed and signed into law. But happy to share these with anybody, but the big numbers are that in this session, with everything approved, through long-range planning, renewable resources, reclamations, Treasury State Endowment Program, state and local infrastructure approvals, the bonding bill, all that amounts to $1.6 billion with a B dollars in infrastructure, which makes the bonding bill pale. And then when you add the transportation infrastructure to that in this next biennium of $100 million rounded, you're about $2.7 billion in infrastructure projects across the state in the next biennium. So I know that makes the bonding bill look small, which it is comparatively, but it gives a picture of what's going on out there in projects across the state. And so very successful in that world of passing legislation that will employ people directly and improve the infrastructure of the state of Montana. You guys got any questions?
Just a couple. You mentioned bills that you were hoping the governor would sign. I think I heard you talking about some of them, talking about Senate Bill 71, the Department of Manager one, the broadband tax abatement, also Senate Bill 266, I think you mentioned. Are those kind of the big ones, or any ones I'm missing there that you're maybe not sure about and hope he's going to accept?
I think you've hit those. I mean, I could read them off, but I think you've got those big ones in there that you mentioned.
Okay. And also, Chris, you talked a lot about your accomplishments. You didn't talk about Medicaid expansion. I think a lot of you up there probably voted no on that. What's your feelings about the fact that that's passed and is a substantial part of what's happened here?
Well, I don't think there was any doubt all the way along that the leadership of the Senate knew that Medicaid expansion would pass in some form. We tried to make it as cost effective and put as much accountability into the bill as we possibly thought we could get through. And you know, most of us, I think, probably didn't vote for the bill. And it wasn't because we don't want to do good things for people. It's just that this piece of legislation was one of the largest expansions of state government. Granted, it was mostly federal, but the feds are broke, and at some point they're going to quit funding the program, or they're going to reduce it like they have CHIP. So, you know, we, in my opinion, we took a sow's purse and a sow's ear and turned it into a silk purse the best we could. We tried to put accountability into it. We did get a sunset on it. Senator Thomas was successful in amending the bill on the floor that will look at people's incomes. So that's what we heard from the people, loud and clear, was that they wanted, if Medicaid expansion was to pass, they wanted more sideboards on the bill, and I think to some extent that happened. Not as much as we'd like, but we did the best we could in that area.
So over the last couple of days, there's been amendments worked on to try to revise the language about Northwestern Energy and coal strip, and wondering what were those negotiations like in the last few days, and why didn't that get across the finish line?
It's a complicated issue that we tried to address in the session at a fairly early, really, we've been talking about this for weeks, if not months. Coal strip is a vital asset for the state of Montana. Republicans understand the importance to the state from not just from a baseload energy generation standpoint, but from a tax standpoint. It pays millions of dollars into the coal trust and severance tax. There's I believe it's close to 5% of the property tax is paid by coal strip. Plus thousands of people at a very high wage that pay taxes in general too. And there was a myriad of good reasons why to support that effort, and the Senate saw the merit of it, and we pursued it. We did it in a transparent fashion. We heard from people that they had concerns about the bill, and we modified it on its way over to the House. It's a huge issue. I don't think it's going to go away. We need to pay attention to it, and hopefully future generations, or at least in the next legislature, it will get the attention it deserves.
Wondering about your feelings of unity within the Republican caucus. We did see some Republican members of the Senate join with Democrats to pass bills like Medicaid expansion. And I know you've spoken a lot about you can't talk about things, how to vote, they're going to do whatever they want. How do you feel like the caucus of Republicans in the Senate has worked together this session?
Well, the Majority Leader and myself, along with the Speaker or President Pro Tem, we for the last 4 years have worked tirelessly, really, to try to, if I understood your question correctly, to try to unify the caucus, and I think we've been very successful at it. Republicans are a very diverse bunch of people, and we understand that, and we agree on certain things, and there's other things that we don't. But in the past, we've seen, at least in my opinion, that you get less done when you poke people in the eye than if you try to work with them on the issues that we're in agreement on. So we knew that going in. Nothing has changed. I'm proud of what we tried to accomplish in the 2019 session. Where we could agree, we agreed, and where we didn't, we did it respectfully. We managed, I thought the Senate, you know, from a decorum standpoint, very well. And you know, like I said in my farewell speech, there's very few people that get everything they want here, if any. And that's just part of the process, and that's how it's designed. So you do the best with the personnel that you get, and I have no regrets in how we managed it, and I think the caucus going forward is going to benefit from how we tried to express our leadership in this session.
Yeah, I'd add to that just a bit, and that's that was one of our key goals was to, the Senate leadership team and our caucus was to leave the session in general, you could say united, but it wasn't so much to say that we'd done everything together and we had 30 members voting for everything. That was never our thought process. Our thought process was to leave this session so that we're all getting along, and when we disagree, we shake hands and move on and call it a day. And when we're in full agreement, we shake hands and look for the next project of the same. And so I think we've been highly successful in that, in the Senate particularly, and I think we've set a pattern for what others should do in the future.
Anything else from anyone? One thing I am going to ask our senators to do for you guys, we'll just go down the line in the front and then weave around the back here. If you guys could each give your highlight of your session, whether it were a bill or something, that'd be great. Start with you, Majority Leader.
Yeah, I'm going to take the fire away from the pro tem. I think his bill on public access lands for lands in Montana is the number one. And that's the highlight for me in getting that put together and looking forward to projects coming forward to unlock lands. This is a real public access bill and not one for just window dressing.
You know, I don't carry a lot of legislation. That's never been my forte, but I think we did carry, as a caucus, we carried some very important bills that it's going to do some good work for the people of Montana. We're all about the economy. That's what our caucus is typically about. The best healthcare program anybody can have is a good job so they can pay for it themselves. We believe in that, and we believe that the best ideas are in the private sector. And so we try to listen to the people or the folks that create the jobs and have the ideas and to employ the folks. And every session we make a good faith effort to try to pass legislation that's going to enable people to continue to do the work that pays the taxes and pays the bills here in Illinois. So I'm proud of what we've done in that area.
Well, since the Majority Leader stole one of mine, I might steal one of Senator Smith's, but I think one of the big groundbreaking days for me is at the very beginning of the session when a lot of the folks on long-range planning and Senator Smith came into the President's office and was glowing about this new infrastructure plan, long-term going on, and how great it could work and how it could take the politics out of bonding and infrastructure bills going forward. And any of us that have served with Senator Smith for a lot of years know exactly what his politics are and what his principles are and where he stands. And you know, although I think that kind of sailed through, I think it passed 100-0 in the House and 50-0 in the Senate. I think that's a bill long-term going on that I hope the public and you folks help recognize. That's a major breakthrough from a long time of log jams, and that was a bipartisan effort. A lot of good people sat down there in the finance office for many days and worked on a bill together. And I sure hope that bill gets highlighted in the long-term future for sessions to come.
Senator Kerry.
I'm going to go back to the Pell Act. The guy right below me worked tirelessly, as well as Senator Thomas, and as well as Casey Conley. And tell you what, to bring all those groups together, to meld them into a common core, was great. He deserves a lot of recognition.
Senator Smith?
I have two bills that were really fun for me and were highlights. One was the dyslexia bill. We had great bipartisan support on it. It's on its way to the governor's office as soon as the Speaker of the House takes and signs it. And I have a strong belief that that's going to have a big effect on educating a lot of children in the state of Montana. If you don't learn to read, you're really behind. And we've got somewhere around 20% of our kids that simply due to dyslexia and that they learn differently, we're not teaching them to read. So we're seeing impacts on that right now. Schools are changing the way they're doing things right now because of that legislation. The other bill that we got great support on, working with Senator Jacobson, was our tax lien bill. It made it so that when you lose your house because you're not paying your property taxes, which is what should happen, that's one of the things we do, you don't also lose all the equity that you have in your house. And that's a big change for us from the way we're doing things on that. We had some opposition from the county treasurers, and by the time we'd been working with them for a couple of weeks, they were supporters of the bill, because we never had a discussion on the bill where somebody didn't said that, well, you know, I think it's fine to take property away from people. It always was an issue where that just doesn't sound right, but we need to figure out how to do it without making it too awfully complicated, and we did that. And so we've got great support on that bill, and it's headed towards the governor's office also.
Senator Fitzpatrick?
I think for me, the most important bill, I mean, I have 31, I think I probably set the record here this session, but 18 bills, 13 resolutions, but for me, it's Senate Bill 125, the reinsurance program. I think that's going to be a big win. Hopefully we'll be able to stabilize our health insurance market and get premiums down for people.
Senator Brown?
Thank you. As chair of Committee on Committees, I think the thing I'm most proud of is the committee and all the great people they put in each committee in the Senate. We chose leaders of each committee, the vice chairs, majority and minority, and quite frankly, they all did yeoman's work during this session, and I'm quite proud of every committee that we assigned.
Senator Bogner?
Yeah, as a freshman, my biggest highlight has been learning from all the experience sitting here and throughout the caucus. There's a lot of experience leaving, so I feel like it was very beneficial for me to learn from them as a freshman.
And the cowboy bill.
Anything else from the press or leadership?
We want to thank the press. You guys have been really excellent to work with, and we appreciate you meeting with us when you do and taking the time to take us in, and we appreciate it very much.